Yo, this is Abdullah Konte with Skylar Nelson, and this is Win Sports. And we're here for another episode, mainly to talk about at the end of preseason. It's over. We've seen 3 games. We've seen them through training camp. And, big cuts are coming in the next couple days. So we kind of wanted to talk about their performance and also just our predictions on the 53, who we think is going to make it. Me and Skylar have some things that are the same, some things that are different, and we're just going to discuss that overall. It's our first time both trying to put a 53-man roster together, so I had to make sure I made Skylar count hers just to make sure she hit 53 and didn't give me like 57 players or something like that. So
You know what?
I had to give her a hard time just to see. But yeah, it's her first time. It's my first time. So, we're going to try to see if we can do this right. First off, I wasn't at the game today. When we're recording this is the same day as the preseason game. Skylar, obviously you were at the game. And do you have any strong comments about just their performance today?
I have 3 on the top of my head. I'll start with the quarterback position. Sam Hartman, he had a bad day. It was bad. You're talking 2 interceptions and 3 penalties, 3 turnovers. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, he didn't play well at all. Like as much as I think we've all tried to give him kudos and give him love, it did not work out well for Sam Hartman today at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Like, great guy, great personality, but it's just like at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to step on that field hard behind Jane Daniels and Marcus Mariota, and I don't feel like he is the person to do it right now. I just feel like a lot of his passes are sloppy. I feel like he panics, and the way that he scrambles, he's not like a scrambler type of quarterback. So when he does scramble, it's a sack. And it's like, it's already too late. The possession already happened. And then it's like, Commanders lose 5 yards.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I definitely was one of those people that gave him grace like a week or 2 ago. But right now, like, you're talking 3 failed preseason games.
Yeah. I think he's had plenty of opportunities. So, look, let's talk about it. I think the way we want to go through this 53 predictions is talking about, I won't say much about the game because like the game's already over. It's a wrap. Yeah. But I think it's like we'll go through each position group and talk about who we think performed, who we think is potentially going to make it. And so, yeah, if we're talking about quarterbacks, Sam Hartman has had all the opportunities in the world to stand out, and I think that he just didn't perform. And, they brought in Josh Johnson for competition, and, I don't know if either of them played super well, but I think if somebody played better, Josh Johnson played better, but neither of them played super well. And I think you saw it in all the we saw the one drive by Jaden, which was electrifying, and obviously neither of these guys are Jaden, but throughout the whole 3 of the postseason games, it was just horrific quarterback play, unfortunately, and it just never worked out well for them. So, look, let's talk about who we think makes this roster at the quarterback position. You know what I mean? Like, look, the thing that's surprising is that the first 2 quarterbacks that we're, considering are quarterbacks that never threw a pass this whole preseason. Jaden didn't throw a pass in that whole drive that he played in, and then Mariota hasn't played at all. So I think we can both lock in to those quarterbacks. So, like, who is your 3 players that you're taking, to be a part of this? Who are the players in this 53 that you're taking in the quarterback position?
I'm going to take Jane Daniels, Marcus Mariota, and Josh Johnson. And I know Josh Johnson is kind of like an on and off, but they will need a QB3. Obviously, there are going to be some veteran quarterbacks that are going to be across the market somewhere. I know they may probably explore that, but as of right now, that's going to be my 3.
So I'm only gonna. This is where me and you differ. One of the things that we differ on. I'm only taking 2. And I think it's because I'm pretty sure they have a rule where you can have one on the practice squad that can play as an emergency quarterback. But I'm only taking two regardless because I just think that, like, unless there's an injury that happens beforehand, if it just shows right now for how bad they played. Honestly, if Mariota and Jaden got hurt in the same game, I'd rather just throw Eckler out there and play quarterback because I'm being serious. They're not winning any games with those other two guys playing quarterback.
I was not expecting you to say that.
I'm serious. And I know this is a little bit of a joke. This is a little bit of a joke, right? I'm joking, but at the same time, like when you think about a position that they could keep, there's other position groups that there's a guy that's fighting for a spot that I think would be more useful than keeping Josh Johnson or a Sam Hartman. I'm pretty sure of the rule. I got to go back and look, but I think there's a rule there that you can have a player on the practice squad that can be brought up in an emergency situation. And I think that's where I only keep two so I can use that one spot for another position. Look, I mean, honestly, like if I was asked you honestly, you think that they can win any games with Josh Johnson or Sam Hartman at quarterback right now?
Definitely not Sam Hartman. Definitely not Josh Johnson. But when I was thinking about the quarterback position, to be so honest with you, like I was thinking, because also too, the Commanders are also known, like, if something happens and they need to make some moves quickly, even without bringing somebody from the practice squad, Adam Peters is just going to make a signing happen.
Yeah. To be honest, there's another. Yeah, I mean, there's other quarterbacks that could get cut that they're like, hey, we should grab that guy. So you're right. Technically, they could grab a third that's neither of these guys. It could be somebody else on a different team right now. So
but I put Josh in that filler spot because
basically,
I'm still thinking in my head of like, are they gonna cut him or like I wouldn't be surprised if they cut him or keep him. But at the same time, I definitely know that Sam, no, absolutely not.
It's just, I think Sam is a practice squad guy, and I think they like him, and I think it's good to have him here with Jaden. I think there are certain players on the practice squad that might not be people that they want to play or have play in the games, but are good for the team. Look, I played college football, and, scout team was really important, and some people were guys that were never going to actually play in the game, but they were great scout team players, and I think that that's kind of how they feel about Hartman, is that he brings something to them, some level of value, whether that's his being support system for Jaden or also being able to give, valuable reps in practice. But essentially, I mean, I do think he's probably going to stick on the practice squad. So, look, let's go to running backs. One of the interesting things about today was that, Bill didn't play, but Rodriguez played and McNichols played. You know what I mean? Right? So, like, it's interesting that they held out Bill because it kind of gives the inclination that he might be more of a starting role or somebody who's going to get a lot of carries. They wanted to make sure they protected him. Maybe it's from the shoulder injury I think he had. Maybe it's that, or it's just maybe they just say, hey, like, we don't want him getting hurt because we know we're going to use him a lot. So what did you think about the running backs? And then, just tell me what you think about them overall and who would you pick at the end of the day as your running backs to make this team?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, honestly, the running back room has been very competitive this training camp. We've been able to see Bill rise to the occasion and exceed the expectations. And then also, too, just seeing Chris Rodriguez Jr. just picking up where he left off from last year was pretty good. But I'm not really surprised that they didn't play Bill today, but I'm kind of a little shocked that, I'm iffy about them playing Chris Rodriguez Jr. today because I feel like, yes, he needed the reps, but also, too, if Bill was going to be out, like, why not have him out just to kind of see what other guys look like? Because of the fact that him and Bill had a good game against the Bengals. So, for me, though, he did have some great yardage today, and I felt like that spoke and also to set a precedent of what they want that running back room to look like. Yeah. And then for Jeremy McNichols, he didn't have the best day, but the coaching staff has really, reiterated that he is a guy that they kind of, can see themselves in some way relying on in the future. Yeah. So I wouldn't count him out just yet.
Yeah, it's weird. I think it's weird because I kind of get the vibe that C-Rod kind of jumped McNichols because McNichols was the third string running back last year, and I'm kind of getting the vibe that like if you were to tell me who the top two guys or the top guy after, I think JCM is number 2 or at least number 1, 2 with Eckler. Like I think him and Eckler are going to be those top 2 guys, but I think C-Rod is right after that. You know what I mean? I think he brings that power kind of dynamic that B-Rob, like they lost with B-Rob. I think McNichols is kind of somebody who could do everything. So they've all played well, though. They've all had good camps. I think C-Rod has probably done the most. Him and Bill have done the most for their stock throughout this whole training camp, in my opinion, right? They just have performed well in practice. They performed well in games. So, like, if you really are trying to solidify who's on this team next year, those are 2 guys, or this coming season, those are 2 guys I feel confident in. So tell me who are your players, and then I'll reveal mine as well.
Yes. So I have Austin Eckler, Bill, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Johnny McNichols.
Okay. So I have the exact same 4. You know what I mean? I think the only person you can consider is Kaz Allen. Kaz Allen has been a part of this team for like 4 years, but has never made the final roster, which is kind of crazy. And I think that like it's like weird because he's talented, and I think he has like some unique skill sets that could be valuable, but it just seems like maybe he's a guy that they stick on the practice squad again, and then maybe if one of these guys gets hurt, they can bring him up or something like that. But I do think they bring 4. You know, I know that some people are only going with 3 running backs. I think they go with 4. I do think that if they're really trying to, there's a couple guys that we'll talk about in this full 53 that like are borderline guys. So like if say they want to go with one of those guys instead of McNichols, maybe that's it. Maybe they cut McNichols or something like that. Like I don't know. I do think that the 3 guys for sure that seem like they're gonna make it is C-Rod, Bill, and Eckler. I think C-Rod has really solidified himself as one of those guys. But you know, will they go with the 4th? Do they need that 4th? You know, I don't know. I think that's the real big question, is that 4th position. I think Kaz, it'd be great for them to have 5. I just don't see them going with 5, and I really even debate if they'll go with 4, but I'm going with 4. I agree with that. So so let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
5.
I think 5 is crazy. I heard somebody else, I can't remember which analyst I was listening to that mentioned 5, and I just thought that was excessive. I don't think they need 5. You know what I mean? I would never do that. But you know, that's just one's opinion. So let's go to wide receivers, right? So my thing is, you know, wide receiver play. Anybody stand out to you today? And I mean, this is one of those positions I feel like most of the spots are locked in. It's really just like that last spot. So, like, what'd you think?
Honestly, today, I mean, I really didn't see too much from the wide receiver room.
Bad quarterback play. I mean, they didn't get a lot of help from the quarterbacks. Yeah, so.
Like between just the quarterback play and then also 2 drop passes, like I've seen enough. Not to be disrespectful, but at the same time, like I've kind of seen what they kind of like. Obviously, 2 guys I definitely don't want to count out, but maybe will be signed to the practice squad would be Micah Gallup and KJ Osborne, in my personal opinion, because you know I do understand that the team is trying to also to keep the youth depth as much as possible. So you know this was probably the hardest one for me because I'm like going through the list, and you know obviously we're gonna have Debo, Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, like those 3 are not going anywhere. Jalen Lane definitely has stood out, and he's exceeded the expectations this year. Yeah. And obviously, you know, I don't expect them to cut Luke McCaffrey. I mean, he has had
still early.
He still had a lot of things going on, but also too, Dan Quinn has really put an emphasis on his growth and the stability that they see in him in the future. So, you know, I definitely don't think that they're going to cut him this time. And then Ja'Cory Brooks is someone who I think, you know, is still getting into the groove of really where his standing is in the wide receiver position. But at the same time, he is not a terrible player. Yeah. So you do have that kind of fitting.
He's young. He's talented. Yeah. Like he has potential. And I think that like based on what you're saying, like, I don't think they keep even Gallup or KJ on the practice squad because they're just too much of veterans that, like, they'll probably let them try to go find another job elsewhere if they can find a role playing somewhere else. But I kind of do think they cut those guys too. So, look, I'll go with my first six first. And basically, yeah, like you said, I think it's Terry, Noah Brown, what did I say? Terry, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Debo, Jalen Lane, and I think that sixth spot, which is the one I think is the most we don't know exactly. I just think that I think Ja'Cory Brooks has just played well enough to take that role. I really do. I think that he has the potential. He was catching everything today. Even with bad quarterback play, he had 4 catches. I just feel like I would love to see him with Jaden Moore. I just feel like he has all the tools to be something. And at this point, I feel like that last spot is something that you want to use more on a potential player. I think if you cut him, he might get a chance somewhere else. Somebody else might pick him up. And that's only the players you want to cut and keep are the ones that you're like, hey, I don't think anybody else is going to touch him. Like he maybe it's not shining enough that somebody can catch him, but we can hold on to him and hopefully develop him. And I just feel like he's somebody that if they cut, they might lose him. You know what I mean? So yeah, who are your 6? Is that the same 6 you have?
Yeah, those were the same 6 that I had. The only thing was, and I was debating on this as well. I wasn't sure. Like for me, if I had to pick, obviously, I really think that they might sign 1 or 2 to the practice squad. But at first, I was kind of thinking that they were going to do either, as much as I think that they're going to cut Michael and KJ, I also see that the team likes them. So I'm kind of debating on that just a little bit. And I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand that it is kind of not crazy, but kind of like a waste if they put 2 veterans on the practice squad, because then it's like, well, then everybody else, like Braylon Sanders, somebody may want him. They signed River Craycraft, but at the same time, like, we still don't know, like, if he's going to be somebody that they want. So it's like, it's kind of 50-50 on that, because we don't know who else is going to want him in the league. And then Jacoby Jones, the Chris Moore, like, these are young guys. So it's like, at the end of the day, somebody can just come and snag them if they wanted to. But at the same time, I feel like, I don't know. Michael and KJ are veterans, and some teams may feel comfortable picking them too. So it's like, it's kind of that hard balance there.
Yeah, I just, I guess, like, it depends on your strategy. I think I would rather go with, if I'm putting somebody on the practice squad, it's somebody I feel like can play a bigger role that season or in the future. Like, I feel like, if you cut KJ and Michael Gallup, and later on in the season, you're like, hey, we need to sign a veteran. There's plenty of veterans out there. Like, I think you want to make sure you have people that, like, are potential that you want to see grow, that are just guys that are like, hey, well, let's invest more time and effort into this kid because we think he has something later on. And so I would much rather them, like, put a practice squad, but get a Tay Martin in the practice squad, because I think I would much rather have him like later on in the year, seeing what he could do, than one of these older guys. Like, I think we're kind of knowing what these older guys are doing, and they're on their decline. You know what I mean? Like, these other guys are on their incline. So, okay, so let's go to tight ends. Look, Colson Yankoff today, right? Like, I think that's like, if we're talking about tight end play today from just today's game, Colson Yankoff looked good in that long catch, catch and run. He looked good. He looked quick. I think he kind of looked like what people hope Sinnott looks like. You know what I mean? Like, we know Bates is more of a blocky guy. We know Ertz is kind of like the reliable catching guy. They would love to have a downfield kind of guy who can get more yards, get more yak yardage. So Yankoff looked good. Is it enough to, like, make the team, right? Like, I don't know. So, like, what's your thoughts on the tight end group overall? And then, give me your guys that you think that they're going to go with.
Well, Yankoff with the 53-yard reception today, that was amazing. I feel like that was the biggest play of today's game for the Commanders, and just getting that yardage down the field, because that was, like, outside of the receivers not really doing so well, I think the tight ends really stood out a little bit more today.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was a good kind of, like, case for Colson. But in my opinion, though, I think that they're going to go with Zach Ertz, Ben Sinnott, and John Bates.
Yeah.
That's what I think that they're going to do.
Okay.
And maybe sign Colson to the practice squad.
See, I think this is where we disagree a little bit as well. I have Yankoff being on the team. I think they're going to go with 4. I think they're going to go with the same 3 that you said, and I think they're going to bring Yankoff also because I think Yankoff made the team last year as well as a special teams guy because he's really good on special teams also. It's not just his I think his ability playing tight end today was like, yo, that's an added bonus.
Yeah.
But he's a good special teams player, and like, look, we've seen how much they've struggled on special teams. They really need to make sure that they're getting the best special teamers. So I think that's where I have that as a 4 place for a place for 4 tight ends. So I'm going to go with Yankoff. I think that's the only difference between we have there. It's just I'm going to add him. He is one of the. There's like 3 or 4 guys that are really fighting for like these last couple spots, and I think that he gets one of those because of his ability to play special teams. So
because the way I made my list, like I try to also to make it so that I know who in my head who I think will be signed to the practice squad.
Yeah,
because it's like as I'm going
down. No, he would definitely be a practice squad guy if he doesn't. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were gonna take like 4 tight ends or not.
Yeah,
but
I think they did last year. From what I remember, I think he made it last year, and he was a surprise guy that they were like Colson Yankoff. But I think it was because of the fact that he was good at special teams.
Yeah,
and he's made good special teams plays as well throughout this preseason. So that's where I think. But like we'll see, you know what I mean? Like this is the thing; he's one of those fringe guys that are like, is he gonna make that squad? He's like the same thing with McNichols and Kaz Allen. Like, are these guys gonna make it? If they decide, hey, you know what, we want to go with 3 tight ends, we don't need him. Like that might be it. So let's go to the O line. You know what I mean? This is probably gonna be the biggest group. This is another one that I feel like, I think we know the starters overall and we know all the guys who are definitely going to be there, but, I don't know if we have much like intel or much analysis just off today's play. But ultimately, like you have thoughts on the O-line and then, just give me your list of how many and who they are.
Yeah. So my O-line list is 10, but I was going to say about the O-line, honestly, throughout camp, obviously, the defense pretty much won camp, like, in practice. But the O-line really showed out, I would say, definitely in the preseason games.
Yeah.
So, because at first, we had talked about this before. I was kind of like, I need the O-line to push. But, obviously in practice, whether they have pads on or not, they're going to take it easy in some areas.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, well, we got to wait till the game starts. And once the game starts, you actually saw what the stats said on paper align with what we saw out there.
Yeah.
They protect the quarterback pretty well, whether that was Jaden or Sam or Josh. So, that was, despite their mistakes or whatever happened out there on the field, they did a pretty good job. And I'm proud of that, actually, which made the O-line kind of, this was a little bit tricky because there were some spots where guys were really fighting. So, and I've seen, some other reporters and some other people talk about the O-line. And I would say about everybody that I've looked at, everybody's list in some way is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So this was probably the hardest one.
Okay, so who you got? Like, you want to go ahead and give me your list?
Yeah, I can give it. Okay, so we got Laramie Tunsil, Brandon Coleman, Tyler. I'm still learning
Biotish.
Yes, there we go. Biotish. Sam Cosme, Josh Connolly Jr., Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley, Chris Paul, Trent Scott, and I have Nick Harris.
Okay, so you don't have Fant? Okay. So I have everybody that you said. I have Tunsil, Coleman, Biotish, Cosme, Connerly, Wiley, Allegretti, Paul, and Fant. Right?
Well, because I think thing? Real quick. Fant, I know that they brought him in because they needed more depth at the tackle position. Yeah. But at the same time, I wasn't, as much as I wanted them to see improvement, I wasn't sure on how they were going to go about it, which is why I didn't include him.
No, it's fair. And to be honest, like, I'm kind of like, Fant, Paul, and Scott are kind of like the 3 that I'm like unsure about. And I think I went with Paul and Fant, and to be honest, I think you could it wouldn't be surprising if they went with Scott and Fant or
Yeah.
Scott and Paul. Like I think that those bottom 3, bottom 4 guys is all interesting. And I went with 9. So you went with 10, I went with 9, which is another reason why I don't have another guy. And so that's where, instead of going with Yankoff, they could go with more people and go with Scott as well. I think they brought Fant for a reason, right? Like Fant got brought in way too late in the training camp process that makes me think that like they like him enough to keep him, and so I know that they kind of like this, like, we'll see, like, some of these guys they brought, and some of these guys they brought in late and they're not going to make the team. I think it's just kind of like they're all trying them out, but like to me, I kind of just get the vibe that they're going to keep Fant. Now, thinking about it, it could be Fant and Scott. Like I'm kind of debating if I keep Paul versus Scott. Like I'm back and forth, but I think as of right now I had Paul just because I think Paul is the stronger guard and I think Scott is more of the swing tackle.
Yeah.
And if they're bringing Fant in to be the swing tackle, then they wouldn't need Scott. So it's like it might be more of a Scott versus Fant situation. I just thought the move of bringing Fant like a week before training camp ended meant that they were like, we kind of like him enough to want to bring him full time. So I don't know. I mean, this is where we'll see. Like, I would say that, like, for me, analysis on all these different positions, O-lineman is always, like, the hardest one for me. Like, I got to watch the all 22s and really watch every single player before I can really dictate, you know what I mean? Like, the other ones, for the nature of just watching the game, you can kind of get the gist of how talented a person is. So,
I agree. I definitely agree because for O-line, I will say, like, this was probably the longest thought out that I had to think about it because for me, like, between Trent, Nick Harris, and Chris Paul, and then also, too, considering George Fant, well, I mentioned him before, but just thinking about, like, the depth and then also, too, the potential of the guard position, we have 2 guards who are injured or coming off of injuries right now.
Yeah.
That was also, too, kind of what I had to think about in my head. Yeah. Because, obviously, as much as I want to upgrade that tackle position and keep the depth in there, the guard position is also still kind of like, I'm not going to say injury prone, but we
just uncertain.
We're raising them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I feel that. I feel you. And we'll see. I think this is where it's predictions. We don't know. And I think that hard. Like, it's going to be interesting to see who they cut and who they keep. So we've done all of offense. Let's go ahead and let's just kind of breeze by special teams. We know it's going to be Tressway, Gay, and Tyler Ott. So, like, there's no point in really talking about that. Like, as much as, I don't want to keep this video super long. Let's just breeze through that. We know those are the 3 guys. Now, Gay, they could bring somebody in to compete with Gay. Yes. Or if somebody cuts somebody and they're like, we like that guy better than Gay, that might happen. But, like, ultimately, they're going to pick 1 kicker, 1 punter, 1 long snapper. So, we got those 3. Now, let's go to D-line. I think you have your whole D-line combined with D-ends and tackles. So, I don't know if we can – I don't know if there's any need to talk about their play today. I don't know if anybody stood out to you. I mean, there were some fringe guys like Pollard played really well. I don't know if he makes the team. Like, there's guys that played well at the bottom, but I don't know if anybody who actually is going to make the team stood out today to me, right? So, go ahead, give me your D linemen. You can just give me all of them, and we'll see how similar they are.
Okay. Sorry. I laugh because it's like when it comes to the O-line and the D-line, I had to really sit down and be like, let's lock in and actually figure out who we think is I think is going to make this team. So, obviously, we have Von Miller.
Yeah.
Daron Payne.
Yeah.
Johnny Newton.
Yeah.
Javon Kinlaw. Dorrance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Deatrick Wise.
Yeah.
Eddie Goldman. Jacob Martin.
Yeah.
Cleland Farrell. And Gervonta Jean-Baptiste.
Yeah. So you had the exact same 10 as me. So it's 6 DNs and 4 D tackles. You got Kinlaw, Payne, Newton, and Goldman at D tackle. And then you have Armstrong, Wise, Farrell, John Baptiste, Von Miller, and Jacob Martin at the ends. And look, I think we've been impressed with the way they've played, and I think they there's not a lot of room for debate on those guys. Like this is where you could say, oh, maybe they don't take 10 and they take like one less, but they kind of need all those guys. Like they kind of need all 6 of those DNs. They kind of need all 4 of those D tackles. Like, is it possible that they, Sheldon Day makes the team at D tackle? Maybe. I just think that there's other places that are much needed. I've seen a lot of people's 53. And it seems like everybody's 53 has this exact D-line. Like, there's not much variance on the D-line. These are the guys who've just produced the most, the guys that they brought in to really make a difference. It just would be surprising. Like, I honestly think it would be very surprising. The only person I think that would be maybe they could change is Goldman. Like, Goldman's the only one that hasn't played super well. I can see that, like, they could be like, hey, well, you're going to bring in Sheldon Day instead of Goldman. I just don't see that either. Like, I just think that all the guys that they have on this list are guys that they plan to move forward with. So I feel like this is an easy one to kind of skip through and go to the next group because I feel like there's not a lot of debate here. It's just, you know, it'd be surprising if it was anything different than what we just said. So
now I did see one list. That did have Sheldon on there, and I kind of questioned that a little bit because I was like, I kind of see it, but
he's played well. It's a debate. I can see the debate. I would be surprised, but I can see the debate. Like, at least, like, that's the only variance that I feel like is possible here. I'd be very surprised if anybody else really took that spot. Like, I really do. And like the D line, I just feel like it's very solid. So let's go to the linebackers. I think we should talk about the linebacker play because, I mean, I don't know about you, but Ali Cajo played really, really well in the last 2 games. I think he's really shined. Is it enough to make the team? I have no idea because I think that he's one of those guys that's like on the fringe. I don't know if he had enough of a good camp. He's one of these people that I feel like could get cut and then make the practice squad, and then next year he like blows up even more or something like
that. That's
what
I'm thinking too.
And you know what the sad thing too is that, like, if you compare him to Medrano, like, they might keep Medrano because he was a draft pick, but I kind of think that Kyle played better than Medrano throughout the whole training camp. Like, I'm not saying that Medrano isn't good either. I just feel like if you really compare the two, there's a part of me that kind of feels like I think Medrano has more tools and more characteristics that are going to be quality for this league, and I think that he just needs to get more seasoning. But I feel like as of right now, like, the guy who made more plays was Kyle, in my opinion. So like, like, what's your thought on the linebacker play today and just in total, the training camp in total?
I think for Cajo, that was kind of very intentional, like just seeing him out there and seeing him play. Like, he's had some really great games, and also too, he's looked nice in practice. So, and he's only 25, so I would not be surprised if they do sign him to the practice squad, because I do think that they are trying to. Obviously, Medrano was a draft pick, but I honestly really feel like that they're gonna keep Medrano because it's just the fact that they see the potential in them, and they've seen the potential in him, and they've also talked about his growth this season. So I can kind of see them keeping him and then maybe signing Cajo to the practice squad.
Well, so okay, like, let's hear what your squad is. Let's hear the players you're keeping. And I'll tell you mine. Let's see if we are the same. How many are you keeping?
Well,
keeping 5, right?
Yeah, okay, so
5. Which 5?
Yeah, so obviously we got to go with the infamous duo, Bobby Wagner and Frankie Luvu. And then I have Kay Medrano, Jordan McGee, and then my last one is Duke Riley.
Okay, so you're picking Riley. Okay, interesting. So I have 5 as well. I don't have Riley. I like Riley a lot, and I think that he would probably be the next one in line. But I have Nick Bellore, and it's because of the fact that Nick Bellore is another guy that I think is a very strong special teamer. Like, I think that if you were to rank just the guys who are great at special teams, I think Revo is number 1, and I think Nick Bellore and Yankoff would be like second and third, with Tyler Owens being in there as well. So, like, I just think that if they have to go with somebody, they're probably going with Nick Bellore more just for his special teams ability, even though I think Duke Riley probably does better for them when it comes to actual true linebacker play, right?
That's what I'm saying. So, and the reason why I put Duke Riley at first was because, too, like, we also need to start thinking about what happens when Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu aren't in the mix.
Yeah.
And that's like my thing. Is like
Yeah,
obviously
because who is really replacing them? Like they love McGee, but he just hasn't played enough. So
that's what I'm saying. And he's
outside of
coming off
McGee,
injury.
outside of if McGee's hurt and then Bobby Wagner gets hurt, who is playing? Is it
Right.
Madrano? Is it Duke Riley? Because Duke Riley has the experience. So
Right.
like it would make sense. Like I don't know if I want Belor out there to play. Like I love him as a special teamer, and I think everybody loves him as a special teamer. Can he play actual linebacker?
Yeah.
No idea. So no, I get it. I mean, it's not it's a different strategy than what I would be doing, but like I get it. You know what I mean? I think that like I would just hope McGee stays healthy and that Bobby and Frankie stay healthy. I think the linebacker depth is a big concern to me.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if there's any position that they sign somebody after cuts are being made, it would be linebacker to me.
Yeah.
If there's a good linebacker that gets cut somewhere else, do not be surprised if this team jumps on that player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, we have 5 each, but we have a different 5. So let's go to the corners. Corners, the only people who played today, I think, were Amos and Noai and
Yeah.
Vigors. That would be in consideration. I think you saw, we saw Bassey play. We saw Armstrong play. They made some plays. So, like, any of those guys capable of, stealing a spot. And then, yeah, like, who are your guys that you would be taking?
Yes. So obviously, Carlin Vigors was kind of like in the beginning one of the players that I had on my list. If you follow me on Twitter, I did have Carlin on my list. Keep an eye on. We've had our eye on him, and I honestly really think at this point that he is a practice squad type of player to me.
Agreed.
Yeah, because I just feel like we've seen how he looks in practice. He's had some good moments, but at the same time, no, the moments don't matter in practice if you can't execute them in a game. So it's like we also got to keep that in mind because yes, you can look good in practice, but if you don't look good in the game, it's not going to benefit the team.
Yeah.
And you got to make these cuts here and there. Obviously, everybody has been talking about Bobby Price, but to me, I feel like, he's going to be cut. That's just me.
Yeah.
But, there are some potentials in some other guys. So I do have 5 for cornerbacks. Obviously, we have Mikey Sanger still. I have Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
I did keep Trey Amos on my list because obviously, yes, today he didn't have the best game. But at the same time, he's somebody that I feel like once he's fully healthy.
He's also a rookie. Like they're not cutting him since he's the their second round pick for this year. So Amos
that
here,
too.
but yeah.
But even then, too, just like I feel like that to continue my point, I feel like that he's gonna grow with the through the injuries and with the depth. So I feel like he'll be fine. Noah I really stood out to me against the Patriots because I just felt like he's a guy that really does try and he really puts in all his effort and he loves the game of football. And I saw that during practice and I saw that here, and he will do anything to the best of his ability to, win a game. Yeah. So I do feel like, they are going to keep Noah I. And the last person that I have on my list is Jonathan Jones.
Yeah. I have the same 5. I think everybody's probably going to have the same 5. Like, I talked about the D-line, and it's like there's not a lot of variations. I think this is the one that I would be shocked if there was a different variation with these 5. These 5 are very talented. I actually think it's one of their deeper spots of the squad. And then also just, there's no one else I think that would be smart for that to take, unless they want to, take 6. But like you said, who else would it be? None of the other guys. Vigors was probably the one that had the most potential, and it just hasn't really worked out. I do think he's a practice squad player. I think he has potential to maybe make the team next year or be a guy that they call up if one of these guys gets hurt. But I just think that, those are the 5. I don't think it would make any sense to go with anybody else. I think they're all really talented and have all proved their worth this year. So moving on to the next one. Yeah,
plus, real quick, I also believe, because I had made note of this, I think Antonio got hurt today as well. So that's another thing.
Yeah. there, I just wouldn't be surprised if any of those guys. They played well at the end, but it was just, I think they were more brought in to be potential guys that could, compete as well as maybe be additions on a practice, or excuse me, for special teams. I don't know if anybody made any spectacular plays that would make me think that they would steal a spot from somebody else. So let's just go to safety. This is our last group. So yeah, how many are you keeping? And then also, did anybody stand out to you enough today? And just talk to me about your thoughts on the safety group overall.
Well, defense was kind of really hard to evaluate today because I felt like they were all struggling as a whole. I would say outside of defense, and this may go outside of the safety position, but I feel like, well, actually, no, it doesn't. Because Tyler Owens, I feel like he was all over the place today in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some moments that he had, but I do feel like, I feel like Tyler Owens actually just the whole camp has just been battling it out, whether that is battling adversity or just trying to find his standing and find who he is as a player. And I feel like, that kind of is enough for me to make him be a part of this team.
Yeah.
So I do feel like, he is actually included in my 4. So I guess I'll name the rest. Obviously, Quan Martin, Jeremy Reeves, without question. Just seeing his leadership ability, and he's definitely going to be that voice and that caller on special teams. And Dan Quinn even said it today, like, he really spoke highly of Jeremy Reeves, and this was the second time that he's done this, I think, all of training camp. And Jeremy Reeves also knows how to speak highly, not only of himself, but of other players, and just breaking down plays and breaking down situations. And I feel like, that's very important in order for you and your teammates to grow, and just very important, especially too on special teams where they have struggled the most in order to get that better understanding. So I do feel like, Jeremy Reeves for sure is a shoo-in. Plus, too, they just gave him an extension. So, they weren't going to get rid of him. Okay. And the last 2 guys I have is Will Harris, and then again, like I said before, Tyler Owens.
So it's interesting because you made a point for Jeremy, but you left a person off that they also extended this year that I feel like they can't, and that's Percy Butler. So to me, I think that they're going to, I think they're going to keep 5 because of that. Because, to be honest, I was looking at it earlier and I had 4 too, and then I was like, wait, Percy, and I was like, you know what?
Okay, that's on me.
They probably no, it's not. I did the same thing. That's why I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, because it's like I literally did the same thing. I sat there and I did 4, and then I went and looked and I was like, wait, what about Percy? And I was like, I feel like I got to make a spot for Percy because of the fact that it's not about what I think; it's about what we think they're going to do. And I think for both of us, we like Percy, but I also think that, there's a part of us that, taking 4 and using that spot somewhere else might have been something that we would consider. But I think that, at the end of the day, I think that Percy is going to stay, because there's a lot of people who aren't so sure about Percy Butler's ability. But I think that, one, I like Percy Butler actually a lot, right? And I think that just with the fact that they signed him makes me think that they're going to keep him. That's why I kept 5. So I have the same 4 as you as well with Percy Butler. So is it possible? No, look, the thing is that is it possible? People get signed and get cut still. You know what I mean? That's not abnormal. That's
extension, now that I think about it,
they did extend him for a year. Yeah, they did.
I kind of forgot about Percy, and a year, that's nothing. So for me, I may have to change this.
No, it's fine. It is something where it's like that, just like you said that about Reva. I was because when I think about it, I was like, that's literally what happened to me. I was looking at this earlier and I didn't have Percy, and it wasn't even because I was purposely trying to take him off. It was more that I just kind of forgot about him, and then I went back and looked, and I was like, oh shit. Excuse me. Oh shoot, Percy. It's Percy Butler, right? I was like, Percy Butler is another player that they just signed. They just extended. So I was like, they gotta,
So that most definitely, I actually, personally, not trying to change my list or nothing, y'all. But most personally, I do think because Percy is extended, they are gonna.
They probably will. So
they probably will. And then in my head, if I had to make some other decisions, just to.
Sure.
We're not going to have 54.
Yeah.
I would just take Josh Johnson.
Well, and that's the thing. There's other ways of
quarterback
keeping,
look good.
I mean, like there's just, there's different ways that they're going to do this. And I forgot. Did you have Cosme in your 10 for? Because I know there's some people who are putting Cosme on the pup list, so that opens up a spot for someone else.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't.
that's-
I don't have Cosme on the pup list. I think he's going to play in the one of those first few games. I don't think they want to start him
Yeah,
off the pup
no.
because if they put him on the pup list to start the game or start the season, he has to sit out the first 4 games. And I think
Yeah.
that he might be ready to play in like week 2 or week 3. So probably week 3 after the Green Bay game because it's going to be a short week. So that's kind of my thought. So basically,
Well, no,
look,
I don't
that's-
have Cosme on the pup list either because
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that they were saying in practice was, well, not practice, but throughout training camp is that Cosme is improving, and we've
Yeah,
kind of
they
seen
see-
him, training and trying to get back stronger.
they
in
they
this
they're
position.
yeah, they seem like they seem pretty optimistic that he's close to being ready to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They don't have to rush it, and it looks like they have enough O-line depth that they don't need to rush it. But at the same time, I don't know if the pup is something they want to do. That just means automatically he misses 4 games. Do they want to do
Yeah.
that? I don't know. They have pretty strong, their first 4 games are pretty strong. So we'll see. I mean, look, that's our 53. I'll try to see if I can put up a graphic to show what our 53 looks like, because obviously you're just hearing
Yeah.
us all speak. It'd be nice to be able to see who we picked overall. But yeah, I mean, that's like that's what we think they're going to go with. Like, you know what I mean? There's obviously a lot of changes, a lot of things. Like those there's like 4 or 5 guys that I'm just like, I'm not sure. I think that this is what they're going to do. I would not be surprised if Ali Cajo makes the team. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if Yankoff doesn't make it or something, or if Ballore they go with Duke Riley instead of Ballore, like you were talking about. Like there's certain spots I wouldn't be surprised about. So and there might be some surprise cuts where a guy like Jonathan Jones gets cut, and we're like, whoa, didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that would happen, but there might be some surprise things that happen. So
You never know.
That's his R53. They're gonna obviously start to announce these like in the next couple days, so we'll see what happens. But look, I mean, we're just that much closer to the season starting. The training camp was a success. I think the biggest thing we can tell from this team is that like their depth is kind of suspect, and mainly at quarterback because like they had 3 preseason games.
Yeah.
If you take the one drive, you take the 2 like drives to start the game in the game against Cincy. The offense was kind of dismal throughout the preseason.
Yeah.
The defense was okay, but they just did not play super well. So it doesn't really alert me to anything. Just like the first game. In this game, they had 30-something players not play. So like, but basically you're not seeing the guys who are actually going to play. So my biggest thing is the special teams was better today. That was the biggest complaint about the first game.
Yeah, that was another big thing for me. Like everybody was freaking out because, and I was kind of at least too because I'm like, I thought we went over this hump. And obviously, you're gonna make mistakes as a kicker, but at the same time, it seems like Matt's mistakes mostly happen when it's like the Commanders need the points and they're under pressure, and that's a problem.
I mean, that's what the kicker's job is come and make some points under pressure. And if he's not doing it in preseason, why do we have confidence that he's going to do it in the game, like in a real game?
So like it's kind of iffy for me because it's like I don't like when it's like I have to watch other teams make 40 to 70 yards.
I mean, the kicker today made a 61 yarder right in his face.
And
Boom.
he's a rookie.
So it's like, but that's the real reason why, like, unfortunately, these guys have short leases too. Like, if he doesn't perform in these next 2 games, like the first 2 games of the season, if Matt Gay struggles, they will find somebody else. Like you saw, they went through so many kickers last year because of that. They don't play around with this.
That's my point is, and this is for Adam Peters, are they really going to wait 2 regular season games to see if Matt Gay is going to perform or not?
Maybe. I mean, look, like I said earlier, it's
Especially
possible.
after what happened last year.
It's possible that somebody else gets cut and they're like, you know what, we like that guy more than this guy. And I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to give him a fair shake. And maybe he's one of these people that when the pressure's really on, he's better. Because some people are like that. Like, some people, they miss the easy ones, but they make the hard ones. Like, maybe that's him. I don't know.
Also, too, some people are great, especially on this team, where they are faced with competition. And then they're forced to perform.
Yeah.
So, I definitely do want to give Matt Gay the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also saying this hypothetically, like,
you got your eyes on him, right? Like, that's the thing. It's the eyeball emoji thing right now. It's like you gotta got your eyes on him. You don't know, like, exactly. Like, we're watching you. You know what I mean? Like, we're watching. We'll see like how you do. But, anyways, look. Great episode. It's a little longer than I wanted to be, but it's also a lot of content because of the fact that we're going through the whole roster and seeing who we think is going to make the team. We'll see how accurate we are in the next couple days. And we'll still be kind of giving you guys content of what's going on with this team. It's going to be kind of slow in the next week because it's, they're week off before the season starts. So if news happens, like, with Terry being signed, any kind of trades, any kind of cuts, surprise cuts, stuff like that, we'll make sure to jump back on and talk to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And this is my first roster, so because I forgot that Percy Butler was extended,
yeah.
I added him in, but I took Josh Johnson out because I knew.
Okay, that's fair.
If I had to switch anybody around, it was going to be that quarterback position.
No, that's fair. That was kind of to me, I feel like that's kind of the one loophole kind of thing. It's like, they don't really need a third quarterback.
No, they don't.
They have a strong quarterback. They have a strong backup. They don't really need a third guy.
But originally, if they, like I said, because we don't know, like, honestly, like, we don't know if they were going to, like I said in the beginning, we don't know if they were going to take 3. And then also, too, there's veteran quarterbacks on the market. So it's like, they're going to play around with this. But, yeah.
Anyways. All right. Well, look, hey, thank you all for tuning in. If you're still watching this long video, please like, subscribe. We appreciate all the love and support, and we'll keep going. We can't wait for the season to start. We can't wait to see who's a part of the squad, and we'll see what happens from there. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.